this is our interview in partnership with Wogrammer. And do you want to just introduce yourself, tell your viewers who you are?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Patricia Garcia. I am a rising junior at Florida International University, but I'm currently at UC Berkeley for the summer where I'm working in the mechanical engineering department.
Okay, super cool. So you've had a college experience. What are you majoring in? What do you want to pursue in the future?
So I'm currently pursuing a degree in mechanical engineering, and I hope to go into the medical device industry.
Mm-hmm.
I've thought about the big companies like Stryker, Boston Scientific, but as of right now, I don't know exactly what company I'd want to work for, but definitely in the medical device industry.
Yeah, and what did you say you were doing at Berkeley?
So here, I've been doing research for a while. When I was going into my senior year of high school, I did research at the University of Miami. Following my senior year of high school, I went to Worcester Polytechnic Institute. Following my freshman year, I was at MIT. And now this summer, I'm at UC Berkeley. I'm working on developing a piezoelectric sensor to assess medical assessment.
Okay, super cool. So how did you first get into STEM and mechanical engineering and all the cool stuff that you're doing?
So I went to a single gender, all girls school back home in Miami, and they had a pretty big emphasis on STEM and technology. So starting in 6th grade, it kind of evolved. They go through all the basics, all the technology of it. And then I was not until my senior year of high school where I decided that engineering was something I'd want to do. But it wasn't the traditional, I guess, experience you could say that someone would want to pursue a degree in STEM. So my senior year of high school, my mom fell ill. She had a feeding tube, and she had to undergo multiple surgeries. She fell under 100 pounds, and in all the surgeries that she had, one of her surgeries was done robotically, so I thought this was really cool. Mm-hmm. So I thought I could incorporate, I really liked the medical aspect of it, but I always knew, and I was told that mechanical engineering was a bit broader and you could do a lot more with it.
Right.
So I decided to go the mechanical engineering route after that experience my mom had. Thankfully, she's doing a lot better and she's regained her health. Yeah. But that was essentially what got me into engineering.
Yeah, it's so cool that you got into like engineering with like a personal, experience. Mm-hmm. And now like when you go into whatever like projects that you're doing, you can kind of relate back to that. Exactly. That's super cool. So speaking of the projects that you've done, you seem like you've done a lot of research and you're doing all these big things. Is there a project that you have that you really loved or that was really challenging that you want to talk about?
I would say that of all the projects I've worked on, the one I'm working on now at UC Berkeley has to be my favorite. This will be going into my 4th week. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's because I'm a little older and wiser now where I can use all the skills I've gained in the classroom and see them applied in real life. So essentially this device that I'm making, it kind of works kind of like a Fitbit, essentially that it'll take the human pulses, for example, on the radial artery, and it'll let you know, okay, does this person have an arrhythmia? What health issues can we detect from these readings? At the University of Miami, it was a lot more just introductory to what is research and what can you expect from it. So there I worked in the neuroscience department with C. elegans, and that was just getting my feet wet. And then at Worcester Polytechnic, I worked on engineering a solution to heart failure. So I worked on creating cardiac scaffolds. And at MIT, I worked on a biomechanics project where we were working on engineering 3D skeletal muscle tissue. But I definitely feel that now this project is more at the intersection of electrical and mechanical engineering, and I just finished taking a mechatronics course at my university before coming to Berkeley. So it's kind of nice to be able to see all the things you learn every day applied in real life and to see that it will have an impact on someone, because oftentimes we are like, why are we learning this for? We're never going to use it. And this is a perfect example of this is how you can use it and how it's done in everyday life.
Yeah, that's so impressive seeing you work on all of that while still in college. I'm heading into college and I hope I have such hands-on experience like you did. You kind of talked about this already, but how do you hope to make like an impact in your field through the causes that motivate you?
I think given my life experiences, it's been something where I just want to to give back in the sense that my mom underwent those circumstances, and if I could be that person who helps facilitate that process for someone else, I think I've made an impact in the world. And if it's through engineering, through the medical device industry, or if it's not, or if I stay and decide to get a PhD and go into research, I feel like whichever route I'll take, it will directly impact someone's life, and I think that's extremely rewarding.
That's super awesome. I'm so fascinated by your story. How do you, I don't know, because in mechanical engineering, what the ratio is for male to female, but how do you feel like your experience has been because of your gender, maybe because of your cultural background?
Yeah.
Is there any advice you want to share for our viewers?
So, that's a good question, because I came from a single gender school, 6th through 12th grade. So,
yeah.
my classes were my graduating class was 32 girls. When I'm going into college, that was a lot different. So I was so used to, okay, like, you can do whatever you want. Being a woman, it's not you're a woman engineer. You're an engineer when I was growing up. And then you kind of get into college and it's like, oh, it's a woman engineer. Whereas I was so used to just hearing the term engineer, I didn't have the sex tied to it. I found it to be empowering, having gone to a single gender school, for example. And then being able to take it out and be like, okay, if I was able to do it in middle school and high school, it shouldn't be any different in college. Even though I can say there's been a couple of times where I'm one of 2 girls in a class of like 30 people. As bad as it is to say, it's something I've become used to. We definitely do strive to have more women in STEM.
Yeah.
And sometimes, at least in the classes I've taken, it's like the baby steps, whether it's going out for outreach, with the Society of Women Engineers, just those little steps that we can take so that the future classroom can see a better ratio. But for the most part, I try, when I'm in the classroom, even though if it's in the back of my mind, oh, I'm only one of 2 girls here, I try not to let it get to me when I'm sitting in the classroom.
Yeah. I wonder how that experience would have been to be in like an all-girls classroom, because I know like middle school and going into high school are like our most impressionable years. And I know like for me, like going into like a classroom of like 30 boys and 2 other girls for me was like a horrifying experience, almost led me away from tech. But yeah, that's super interesting how that shaped who you are today. I wonder if it made me like more empowered to like get more females in STEM, or vice versa and stuff like that. So yeah, that's super cool. Have you had a mentor help you out throughout your journey in STEM?
I feel like my mentors have not been directly in STEM. Like, for example, when I do research over the summer, it'll be that mentor on that project for that amount of time. And then most of the time they're PhD students or postdocs, so they're just so busy outside of that. Right. So I've had older girls within engineering, for example, help me out. I had a really good friend. She just graduated this past semester. Her name was Hosanna. The 2 years that I knew her, she definitely guided me and set me in the path. Because she works for Boston Scientific too now, she would always tell me, she goes, I see a younger version of myself in you. And then that was really empowering, because she's been able to accomplish so much. And she's also undergone certain circumstances, which I feel like if she can do it, then why can't I do it? So I definitely feel like the empowerment of seeing that other women were once in my shoes definitely it's so rewarding to be able to experience that and to see that. And advising as well. So out of high school, I had a full ride to go to George Washington University, actually. And then when my mom fell, I'm from Miami. So Florida International University is in Miami. So I had to stay local and go to my state school. But the advisor that I had between my senior year of high school and my freshman year at FIU was someone who's definitely also paved the way for me and has been supportive of the decisions I've made, and has definitely opened up opportunities I didn't know were possible for me as well when it's come to like apply to this scholarship, where I think you're perfect to address. For example, I gave a speech at the freshman convocation this past year where I spoke about my college experience. So things like that, where I'm able to express my journey and the things I've come across, I would have not known about had not been, for example, my advisor, who's been there for a big chunk of my time during my undergraduate career.
Yeah. So a lot of the girls who watch this series are really inspired by the people who come in and talk to us. So what advice would you have for either your younger self or anybody either looking to start in STEM or trying to find their way?
I would definitely say, this is advice I give all the time, is there should be no one stopping you from doing something ever. So in high school, you may have that teacher who, for example, I remember it was like senior year of high school, like a teacher would pick certain people she'd want in like her AP calculus class, and if you might have been picked, but you might have not been a top choice, and you knew that. But I don't think that should deter you from pursuing what you want.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of similar stories like that too. Some of the STEM geniuses of this century, for example, were not at the top of their class, or were not straight A students, and I think that oftentimes I let that get the best of me. It's like if I wasn't getting straight A's and I wasn't good enough, and I shouldn't be pursuing a career in STEM. And I say that now, it probably sounds super cliche, but I think it's an advice that would have definitely not put so much stress on me when I was in high school and even in college as well. It's like you are good enough, and no one should tell you that you're not. So that was a big thing throughout my life. I think even in school or out of school is definitely really important.
No, I definitely agree. And especially, I think we have more of a tendency to get those straight A's and everything perfect because we're women, because we're supposed to be like perfect and everything like that according to society. So I think it's really important that you share that, it's not important to be like always perfect and just get straight A's. It's important to work hard and do the best you can, but like, so that's super important. So I can assume that going through high school and college and dealing with your hard classes, you definitely had to deal with stress. What advice or help would you have for people who are dealing with a stressful situation?
My university, they do advertise a lot of going to the counseling center a lot. So there would be points where the stress would be over me, and I just have nights where I just cry and I was like, okay, this is not healthy. So even if it's just letting it out, like sometimes I feel comfortable letting it out to my friends because they'll be like, oh, she's being dramatic. That's one that I feel like girls often get a lot to. If you feel overwhelmed and you go tell someone, oh, you're being dramatic. So like, I don't want to deal with that right now. So I would just go talk to someone at school and be like, this is how I'm feeling today. This happened in this class. And after I leave there, I just feel so much better. And it's like, okay, I got that out of the way, so I can continue my day now with a new mindset and start being able to accomplish a lot more than I would have had I not gotten this off my chest.
Right.
Going to the gym is another big one. A lot of people say, I feel like if you can just set out 30 minutes to an hour, that can be helpful as well. It's just getting on the treadmill and don't think about school within those 30 to an hour that you're in the gym. I think it's also really helpful.
Yeah. So what do you do outside of STEM? What do you do for fun, or do you have any hobbies that you want to share?
So in high school, I was really into photography. I had a photography page, yeah. I mean, I don't have as much time to do that anymore, but on the weekends, so I live on campus at FIU, so on the weekends I go home. My home is a 20-minute ride away from FIU, so when I'm on the weekends, though, I like to go home and spend time with my family, because even though I'm 20 minutes away, it's inconvenient to have to go home and drive those 20 minutes, which could turn into an hour with the Miami traffic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to spend time with my family. I enjoy watching TED Talks. I enjoy spending time with my dog as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. It's nice to like have your family close but not too close. Like I'll be at Davis, which is like 2 hours away from my family, which is kind of a long drive, but it's like a good distance, like not too close but not too far. Yeah, definitely. So you seem like you have a packed schedule doing all this stuff. What's your day-to-day schedule like right now?
So right now, working in the lab, or at least in all the labs I've worked on, your mentors kind of dictate the day for you. There's not really a set time to go in, whereas like in college, if your class starts at 8, you have to be there at 8, or in high school, 7:20, you have to be there at 7:20.
Yeah.
In research, you just kind of go in whatever time works for you. As long as you get what you need to do done for the day, that's how it works. But usually I start my day off, get up at 8, I'm in the lab by 9, and then my typical day will end around 5. I try to get as much data as I can because, for example, we have a poster session and a paper to write before the summer is over.
Wow.
And we need to get that as much data as we can to report for those 2 deliverables. And then I come back for dinner. I've been trying to get into the routine of going to the gym here because I was doing that at my home university. And here, it's my 4th weekend. I think I'm pretty acquainted with the campus now. Very different than the campus back in Miami.
Yeah.
And on the weekends, I'm still trying to see what there is to do here. I've been to San Francisco a couple of times, but in the Berkeley area, I'm still trying to get my way around here.
Yeah, definitely try boba. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I have tried boba. Back home, we only have the sushi maki one, which is like the generic one. So then here, I've had in my 4 weeks being here, I've been to a boba place about 10 times.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a craze around here. You can find all the different flavors. Yeah. So going away from that topic a little bit more back into a deeper issue, have you, you've talked about being one of 2 women in a classroom. How have you dealt with imposter syndrome, either at your projects or in school in general?
So, for example, the last summer so I always tell this story. So when I was WPI is about a 2-hour car ride from Cambridge, the MIT area. And I visited the 4th of July, when I was at WPI. So I went to MIT, and I was like, wow, this is such a cool place. It'd be nice to be something more than just a tourist here one day. And then the summer after that, when I was accepted to go to MIT for the summer, I was like, oh, I don't think I was worthy of this. It must be because I'm a woman that I got this. And then when I got there, and I was taking everything in, I am at MIT, it was like, okay, if they chose me for this, it must mean that I'm capable of doing the work at MIT. So it doesn't make a difference whether I think I deserve to be here or not. I am meant to be here. And then even now at Berkeley, so MIT and Berkeley, I think Berkeley being the #1 engineering school and Berkeley being the #1 public engineering school, private public, I was like, okay, maybe I'm now getting this because I was at MIT, and Berkeley has to say yes because I was at MIT. And then the more I think about it, it's like, how about I just look at it from another perspective and think more of the holistic view? They probably do, okay, let's see the coursework, let's see her performance, let's see what she does outside of the classroom, and let's take that into a whole and not take into consideration, which I know is a factor, but to deviate from the imposter syndrome, I try not to think about, okay, she's a woman, so we gave this to her because she's a woman. It's a lot of, I'm here because I'm worthy of being here. And I was actually speaking to the only other girl in my program here who were speaking about the imposter syndrome as well. She thought the same thing, they had to give it to me, for example, because I'm a woman or I'm a double minority, for example. So it's just a lot of validating yourself and knowing that you belong here despite whatever you might have going on in your head.
No, I definitely agree. I want to share a short story. So I recently met my mentor. She works at Pinterest, and when she first started there, she was they gave her this project. They didn't really tell her exactly what to do, and she was really confused. And she was like, okay, let me just try something. And she saw the guy next to her was just coding away at this project, and she was so impressed. She was like, oh my god, maybe I don't deserve to be here. And then when they got closer, later into the year, she was like, how did you know what to do? We didn't get enough instruction or whatever it was. And he was like, oh, I was just typing random stuff. I didn't know what I was doing either.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's it's crazy when people just get in their head and think that they don't belong or they're doing something wrong. But oftentimes it's everyone who's struggling and confused. So if you just reach out to someone, you might realize that it's not just you.
Yeah.
That way, right? Yeah. So is there a conversation that you've had that's really became a turning point in your life or really impacted you in some way?
My friend Hosanna, who I mentioned previously, I had just gotten out of an exam that to my standards I hadn't done so well, and I walked out of the class and I was just crying. And then she goes, Patricia, come with me, let's get in the car. So we went to a local ice cream shop back in Miami, and she sat down with me and she told me, I was like, maybe this engineering stuff isn't for me, Hosanna. Look, the grade I'm gonna get on this exam when I get it back is not gonna be very good. And she goes, that doesn't matter. One bad exam does not define you, or does not define your entire college career. So that day was really rough. I was like, I can't do this. Engineering is not for me. And then sometimes you just need to have that conversation. I even tell her sometimes, the validation you gave me that day, had I not come across you and had you not reached out to me, because she asked me, how'd you do on the exam afterward? And then that's when I was like, I just need to talk to you. And yeah, she just kept telling me, this is for you. If I could do it, you can do it. And there's no reason you shouldn't be able to do it. Because that was also one of the classes where I think I was one of 5 or 6 girls in that class. I was like, maybe this is not for me. Maybe the guys are just naturally smarter than I am. And they were doing everything a lot quicker and learning everything a lot quicker than I was. So she was like, what's the difference? You both are in that class for a reason, right? And I definitely credit a lot of what I've been able to do to date to Rosanna and all the encouraging words that she gave me, because sometimes you may think you have it, but it's reassuring to hear sometimes someone else to have been in your shoes. And sometimes you have setbacks, and I think it's really important to just have someone there for you. And she was a couple years older than me, so it's really reassuring too when someone's older and has already done all the stuff. She's mechanical engineering as well. So I think that's really important. Sometimes those conversations and those mentors can make or break whether you decide to continue with your career or not.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's so important to have mentors. I've just recently began finding mentors of my own, people that I can look up to and trust in the tech industry, and hopefully in college I'll find some people. But yeah, it's super awesome how you were able to get through that, because we've all been there, a bad test score, a bad exam or whatever. Yeah, so what's the most interesting thing about you we wouldn't learn from your resume alone? We know you have a really impressive resume, but what's something we wouldn't learn from that?
I guess fun fact about me is that I still have 4 baby teeth, which I guess are not baby teeth because they're not going to fall out.
Are they wisdom teeth?
I'm sorry?
Are they wisdom teeth?
They're not wisdom teeth. They're just one on each corner that are not going to fall out. So that's a fun fact. But anything interesting about me? I don't know. The photography was something was a hobby I had in high school. I try to do as much as I can now. I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. Now that maybe your teeth will fall out randomly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, to wrap this up, I know we kind of discussed this before, but what advice would you have for a girl looking to start specifically in mechanical engineering?
You come across opportunities and you think, oh, maybe my GPA is not where it needs to be, or I'm not old enough. So I know some things will tell you need to be a junior or a senior. But I've heard the advice I